Hey gang, as the title of this video states, you might see me rant, you may see me turn red, you may see me get a little randy, a little moxie, a little yelly, because I am infuriated right now, and stay tuned for why. Gang, if you're new here, my name is Shelly. I work as a dietitian. I run a weight loss clinic. In my past, I did work in the hospital system. I left that system so that I can form my own weight loss and anti-inflammatory clinic. And one of the things that happens with a lot of folks that I'll see is they'll come to me and they'll say things such as, hey Shelly, I'm trying everything I can to lose weight and nothing is working. And then I'll run across some things that folks will say like, oh, well, you could have a bite of that every once in a while, or you know what? Everything in moderation. And that is what I'm going to vent to you about today. That line, everything in moderation. I'm here to tell you point blank, everything in moderation is a complete joke. And if you want me to be perfectly honest with you, I think it's unethical if there's any healthcare provider, including my own profession, that'll say everything in moderation. Let me tell you why. And let me have my evidence supported, because while this is a professional opinion, I just recently read a study where that line is used and it's absolutely terrifying. So I have my computer right here to make sure that I get numbers out right. And I want to preface this video by saying, please do not, absolutely do not, I do not condone any dirty remarks about any other professional on this page. I don't like to talk about anyone personally, but if they're making a professional opinion, I think it's perfectly fine to debate them. So this study right here, and again, I'm looking at my computer just to kind of tell y'all where I'm going, was a study, it came out of Britain, okay? And it actually came out of the University of Oxford, okay? So that is in Britain. And they found that diets heavy in chocolate, pastry, so sweet, table sugar, sodas, and fruit juices, and low in fresh fruits and vegetables are the worst. They were like, So what they did was they took over 100,000 individuals and they asked them what they ate. They asked them between 2 and 5 times. Now, I don't know how it was done. Was it done by a phone call? Was it done by a checkbox? That's probably what I'm assuming, kind of the checkbox thing, because that works very easy and it's very simple. And here's what they found out. Now listen, they flat out found this. This is not made up. And I know folks are going to argue with me about correlation, but when you're over 100,000 folks and folks will say, well, maybe they lied. Well, maybe a couple did, but you know, out of 100,000, you know, that's a big deal. This was the exact results. And we talked about this in a video last time of why you should quit white bread and sodas. They grouped people by the foods that they ate. And the people whose diets were high in chocolate, candy, butter. And I want to preface that right here because we are the keto and anti-inflammatory kitchen. We do like butter, but we don't overuse it. We're not eating a block of it. And we do use Kerrygold, which is, you know, made from cream, but I really prefer the olive oils and avocado oil before somebody comes at me in this comment section below. And white bread had a 40%, one more time, 40% gang, 40% higher risk of heart disease and a 30% higher risk of early death than those that ate other things, okay? So hear me out. For me, it's like, oh my gosh, let me cut this out. Let me get rid of this because I don't want heart disease. I'm a woman. You know, we have a lot of silent symptoms of heart disease that we just don't know. And so for me, as a dietitian and weight loss clinic, I'm like, we're not gonna do this no more. Can I have a little bit here? No, because remember that risk right there. And how do I compare this to? I compare it to like a toxic relationship, okay? So folks will say like, well, what do you mean by that? It's like, well, this boyfriend treated me like garbage. Should I go back to him? But he was really good at XYZ. Chocolate may taste good for a few minutes, but after a while it's gone, just like the toxic boyfriend. Think about it in that term, honey. Think about it like that. Even the researcher found that maybe the importance of this study is to stop talking about sugar and fat and start talking about things like chocolate, candy, confectionery, she said, white bread, butter, high-fat cheese. Yes, because when you get specific with folks, when you get really specific with people, they resonate. They're like, okay, yeah, I got it. Because everybody who comes into my clinic, what do they want? They want a menu. They want to know exactly what to eat because they want to change. And it's not because they're dumb. It is because it helps save them time. Do not waste people's time by saying, oh my gosh, you can have whatever you want and everything in moderation. Because you know why? My moderation is different than your moderation, and then different from that person's moderation. If you ask my 7-year-old child moderation about candy, he gonna eat all that candy and tell you he ate it in moderation. I know my kid. So think about it in those terms. It is theoretically beautiful. Saying everything in moderation is beautiful. But guess what? A lot of folks have very different modifications than one another. And I get it. There is this huge push for us not to consider foods bad. But there is a food product that we know increases heart disease. You better believe I'm going to tell my patients that. And it's time for us to quit being people's friend and to start being very honest about food. Shelly, can I have this even though, I'm 37 and have high cholesterol? Everything in moderation, not a problem. Shelly, should I use butter or olive oil in cooking? Well, baby, it doesn't matter. Everything in moderation. Well, don't do that. Don't be people's friends. Tell them the truth. But gang, it is time we start taking care of our people. It is time we stop saying everything in moderation, because we are seeing more and more people. I am seeing folks in my clinic younger and younger with heart disease, with PCOS, with a lot of inflammation, who are claiming that they are eating okay, but because they've been told everything in moderation, they don't know exactly how much of something they should have. So please read into research like this. And again, if you are part of that percentage of that population who we have to be careful with telling you what to eat, go to that specific eating disorder therapist. What really rubbed my gears the absolute wrong way was they did quote somebody from the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, a spokesperson. Now, a spokesperson is somebody who is looked up to. And I'm not gonna lie, gang, when I was young, I wanted to be a spokesperson so bad because I wanted to talk about health. And thank goodness I let that go away, because this is so disappointing to me that my actual board profession would say this. And I'm not gonna name her or him, could be a he or, we're not gonna do that. But what they said really made me crazy. They say that, a diet high in refined carbohydrates with the white bread, high in saturated fat, high in added sugar, it hits the red flags. Okay, yeah, great. But this is where it gets crazy. It can be scary for people to think about specific foods in terms of poor health outcomes or even death. Why is it scary if I was to tell somebody, hey, if you continue that one day of soda habit, you could get heart disease down the road? Why is that scary? Why is that scary? And to get them to drink water? I don't understand. Somebody help me. Why is that scary? There's a big comment section below you can answer. Why is that scary? And furthermore, here's what they said. I think it's much more important to emphasize that all of these foods can certainly fit into a healthy dietary pattern. We don't have to avoid them entirely, but we also don't want our diets to be high in these things. Moderation is kind of a trope, T-R-O-P, of dietitians, but it's the real deal. No, it's not. Because if it's a real deal, we wouldn't have those percentages that we have. Again, let me know what you think in the comments. I do not teach moderation in our clinic. We give specifics. We do wonderful recipe modifications down the road. I am not your friend, I'm your dietitian, but we do develop a wonderful relationship with one another because I care about you. I care about your outcome. I want you to be around for your family. I want you to be in church and be able to kneel down. I want you to be able to sit down with your grandchildren and play with them. And before you say something like, well, I could die tomorrow getting a bus hit, and we all have bad genetics. I have a terrible cancer line of genetics. I have a terrible migraine genetic line. Yes, I could get these things tomorrow, but why don't we work with our genetics and fight them? Let's prevent it as long as possible. Let me know your thoughts, gang. Take care.